Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to your favorite time of the week where we recap what has happened over the previous week in the world of the blockchain development. And I gotta tell you something, I was out on holiday, I expected for nothing to have happened. Oh boy, was I wrong. This is actually the most eventful week that I am going to be reporting to you guys that has happened since the beginning of this year. I literally am going to struggle to keep this under 10 minutes. So without any further wasting of time, I'm going to dive straight into the news, and I'm going to start with Embark, the development framework for Ethereum developed by Status, and they have released their newest version, Embark 4.0, and they have a ton of improvements. I literally could not remember them all, so I have them here listed. So first of all, they have their cockpit, which is pretty much the UI command center for Embark. With Embark 4.0, you're going to be able to see dashboards. You're going to be able to see like different statistics and manage different processes that Embark has control over. You have an interactive console. You can type things and send transactions towards the network that you have spawned. You'll have Blockchain Explorer. You have integrated code editor so that you can make live changes. And this is just the cockpit. In addition, you have an integrated debugger, and you'll also be able to spawn your own Angular React or Vue project with Embark. So great leap forward to Embark, and congratulations on their new release. And somebody that has not waited a long time to do a new release is actually our champions of Truffle. With their new 5.0.9 release. And this release mostly consists, the most notable thing is actually a new parameter in their Truffle config file where you can now specify that your network is quorum. And so they have added their support for quorum. They have upped it a bit. In addition, there are updates on their CLI and the documentation. There are some enhancements in the from and to options. And while we were talking about Truffle, something that goes along with Truffle normally is Ganache. Whether you use Ganache CLI or the Ganache UI, there is something that you always are running there when you are developing. And the Ganache tool, the Ganache UI tool, has actually released a new version 2.0.0, and it's called it with a playful name Chocolate Birthday Cake. And this chocolate birthday cake comes with new features. Most of them are just catch up of the version 2 of Ganache CLI. So you first of all have workspaces where you can like save your the state of your Ganache and load it up later. You have contracts tab where you can see the status and different details about the contracts that you have deployed, like its name, the address, how many transactions have been towards this contract. There is also an events page where you can see all the events that are being thrown, and there is also a hard forks option where you can specify which hard fork actually you want to use, whether you want to use Petersburg, whether you want to use Constantinople, whether you want to use Byzantium. You can use any of them. So check out the new major version of Ganache. And while we're mentioning Ganache and Truffle, something that goes along with Ganache and Truffle is actually Web3.js. Guess what? Web3.js again has a new version, beta 49. Well, it isn't something very special. Probably you don't need to update your Web3, but there are some little bug fixes and architectural reorganizations, so we expect for newer, bigger changes to be coming in the next version of Web3.js. But for now, there is a new release, beta 49. And this was from the old libraries that we had, but there, of course, are new things that are coming on this week. And first, very important and interesting thing is called Vyper.js. It's actually Vyper compiler bindings for JavaScript. Pretty much, this means that you can use Vyper, you can compile Vyper through JavaScript code. So this means that you don't no longer uh, you don't have the sole option of compiling through the Vyper CLI, but now you can do it actually programmatically through JavaScript. One important note here is that you still need to install Vyper. Vyper.js is not installing Vyper for you, but then you can use Vyper.js to do compilation and get the compilation artifacts in your JavaScripts. This is definitely something that we are going to look to include in Ethereum, so look forward to Vyper.js in Ethereum. Another thing that is coming this week is called ethvtx, which is Ethereum ready framework agnostic Redux store. And I know that this sounded long and complicated, but this pretty much means that there is now a package that allows you to create a Redux store that synchronizes and dispatches requests towards certain Ethereum objects. So you can pretty much have a store in your application and allow ethvtx to pretty much synchronize with the Ethereum network the objects that you have in your store. So things that you can synchronize in your Redux store are you can synchronize transactions, so you can watch for transactions. You can have transactions arrays. You can watch over accounts and get the latest accounts news informations. You can synchronize over contracts and over blocks. So ethvtx is something that you might be looking forward using when you're building your own web applications or any like React applications in order to synchronize with the Ethereum network easily. And this was in terms of libraries. However, there are multiple tools that have been introduced during this week, and probably one of the long-awaited ones that came this week is the Counterfactual Playground. The L4 company had their counterfactual framework, which is pretty much a framework for utilizing state channels, and they have created a playground where one can play around with state channels, but not only with state channels, but with all the different things that you need in order to build it up. And the developers can not only play around in this playground, but they can actually learn how to build their own scalable, robust applications based on Ethereum. So this pretty much the main goal of this playground is to allow developers to experience what Ethereum is and learn how to build scalable dApps, scalable solutions based on Ethereum. Another new tool that came this week is the Solidity Compiler Tester called SOLTIX. It is something that came out of chain security, and it is it is pretty much not something that you will use when you are developing your own dApps. But is actually something that you would normally use if you have to develop your own Solidity compiler. I know that this is not something common, but bear with me for a second. For those of us that are actually working on Solidity compilers, this is going to be like a magical tool. And what is it that SOLTIX does is actually automatic testing. It has several methods to be able to test your compiler, to test the output based on given inputs and check whether different conditions are met, whether some bugs are actually introduced through the compilation process itself, instead of just like bugs that are done by the developer of the smart contract. So if you're developing compilers, Solidity compilers, check out SOLTIX. The link is going to be in the description, and see whether your compiler passes the tests. And last but not least, it's a little bit of sad news, but missed. the Ethereum browser, one of the first Ethereum browser, has actually now been sunset. The browser is going to be deprecated. The team has brought us this news, and they have decided pretty much for different components of Mist to become their own standalone applications, libraries, and there have been like a major breakthroughs in terms of wallets that pretty much rendered Mist obsolete, seeing very little adoption, and now Mist is going to be considered deprecated. And sad news, but yeah, it's something that needed to happen. So pretty much with this sad news, these were all the 9 news that I wanted to bring to you. Hopefully this has been very interesting and you have learned your news this time. And of course, as usual, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell so you are the first one to know whenever there is new video, and so that you are kept up to date. Don't forget to also follow me on Twitter. Tweet me with any suggestions that you want to see me improved. Send me all the news pieces that you want to see in this series. And don't forget to build hard, and you're going to end up in these videos one way or the other. See you soon, guys. Bye.